7 Political News Update. I'm with you, Azrina Brar. Let's start with our first news. First, President Joe Biden keeps seeing a good economic news in bad public approval ratings. The unemployment rate fell to 3.5% in March. More than 236,000 jobs were added. But there has been no political payoff for the president's U.S. Adults are skipping past the jobs numbers and generally feeling horrible about the economy. White House aides can simply list plenty of reasons for the pessimism: high inflation, the hangover from the pandemic, and the political polarization that leaves Republicans automatically believing the economy is sour under a Democratic president. Next news. Joe Blewett is just about the busiest man in Ballina. His phone rings constantly with the calls from locals and the world's media as he prepares to welcome a relative, U.S. President Joe Biden. Biden is scheduled to travel to Ireland next week, with a stop in Ballina, the town in which one of his great-great-great-grandfathers left for the United States in 1850. Blewett, a distant cousin who first met Biden when he came to the town as vice president in 2016, said the U.S. leader pledged to return once he won the presidency. Next news. A Texas judge who sparked a legal firestorm with an unprecedented ruling halting approval of the nation's most common method of abortion is a former attorney for a religious liberty legal group with a long history pushing conservative causes. U.S. District Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk, an appointee of former President Donald Trump, on Friday ordered a hold on federal approval of mifepristone in a decision that overrules decades of scientific approval. His ruling, which does not take the immediate effect, came practically at the same time that the U.S. District Judge Thomas O. Rice, an appointee of former President Barack Obama, essentially ordered the opposite in a different case in Washington. The split likely puts the issue on an accelerated path to the U.S. Supreme Court. Next news. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas said Friday he was not required to disclose the many trips he and his wife took that were paid for by Republican megadonor Harlan Crow. Describing Crow and his wife, Kathy, as among our dearest friends, Thomas said in a statement that he was advised by colleagues on the nation's highest court and others in the federal judiciary that this sort of personal hospitality from close personal friends who did not have business before the court was not reportable. Thomas did not name the other justices or those in the judiciary with whom he had consulted. A short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the world of Millennium News 24. We bring news, we analyze news, and we make a bridge between you and the eventful world. 24/7 Millennium News 24 team is at your service. Don't miss today's America, Editorial Today, and Global Democracy with host Tofader Noor. You also won't want to miss Todd Goldfinger Show, Goldfinger Music Hour, Noon News with host Todd Goldfinger. And to stay connected with all top and trending news, don't even miss Millennium News Hour with host Tanziba Nouri. Millennium News 24 is available to be watched free for all LED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Millennium TV 24 News you need to know.
Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Political News Update. I am Isrina Brar and let's resume with our next news. A federal appeals court sided Friday with the Justice Department in a case that could have upended hundreds of charges brought to the Capitol riot investigation. The decision, however, leaves open to possibility of further challenges to the charge of obstruction of Congress, which has been brought against more than 300 defendants in the massive federal prosecutions following the January 6, 2021 riot. In a 2-1 ruling, a 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit said a lower court judge was wrong in dismissing the charge in 3 cases in which the judge concluded it did not cover the defendant's conduct. Next news. Migrants who enter the United States illegally will be screened by asylum officers while in custody under a limited experiment that provides them access to legal counsel, the Department of Homeland Security said Friday. The new approach will start with a tiny number of migrants next week. Officials said the trial run is part of preparations for the end of a pandemic-related rule expected on May 11th that has suspended rights to seek asylum for many. Next news. Estonia's Prime Minister Kaja Kallas said Saturday that her center-right Reform Party has clinched a deal with 2 other parties to form a coalition government 5 weeks after a general election in the Baltic country. The party councils of Kallas' pro-business Reform Party, which overwhelmingly won Estonia's March 5th parliamentary election with 31.2% of the vote, the centrist Estonia 200 Party and the Socialist Democratic Party said they would form the coalition after agreeing on government programs for the next 4 years following lengthy talks. Next news. Afghan religious scholars Saturday criticized a ban on female education as a key Taliban minister warned clerics not to rebel against the government on the controversial issue. Girls cannot go to school beyond 6th grade in Afghanistan, with the education ban extending to universities. Women are barred from public spaces, including parks and most forms of employment. Last week, Afghan women were barred from working at the UN, according to the global body, although the Taliban have yet to make public announcements. Authorities present the education restrictions as temporary suspensions rather than bans, but universities and schools reopened in March without their female students. A short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the world of Millennium News 24. We bring news, we analyze news, and we make a bridge between you and the eventful world. 24/7 Millennium News 24 team is at your service. Don't miss today's America, Editorial Today, and Global Democracy with host Tofader Noor. You also won't want to miss Todd Goldfinger's show, Goldfinger Music Hour, Noon News with host Todd Goldfinger. And to stay connected with all top and trending news, don't even miss Millennium News Hour with host Tanziba Nouri. Millennium News 24 is available to be watched free for all LED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Millennium TV 24 News you need to know.
Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Political News Update. I'm Isrina Brar, and let's resume with our daily news. The U.S. Navy has deployed a guided missile submarine capable of carrying up to 154 Tomahawk missiles to the Middle East, a spokesman said Saturday, in what appeared to be a show of force toward Iran following recent tensions. The Navy rarely acknowledges the location or deployment of submarines. Commander Timothy Hawkins, a spokesman for the Fifth Fleet based in Gulf nation of Bahrain, declined to comment on the submarine's mission or what had prompted the deployment. He said the nuclear-powered submarine based out of Kings Bay, Georgia, passed through the Suez Canal on Friday. It is capable of carrying up to 154 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles and is deployed to U.S. Fifth Fleet to help ensure regional maritime security and stability, Hawkins said. Next news. China sent warships and dozens of fighter jets toward Taiwan on Saturday, the Taiwanese government said in retaliation for a meeting between the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker and the president of the self-ruled island democracy claimed by Beijing as a part of its territory. The Chinese military announced the start of three-day combat readiness patrols as a warning to Taiwanese who want to make the island's de facto independence permanent. The People's Liberation Army gave no indication whether they might include a repeat of previous exercises with missiles fired into the sea, which disrupted shippings and airline flights. Next news. Vice President Kamala Harris made a last-minute trip Friday to Tennessee, where she called the tougher firearms laws and criticized the Republican-controlled state House, which a day earlier expelled two black Democratic lawmakers for their role in protests calling for more gun control following a school shooting in Nashville. Harris received wild applause and several standing ovations as she told a crowd in Nashville, historically black Fisk University, and the so-called Tennessee Three ousted Reps Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, and a third Democrat, Gloria Johnson, who avoided expulsion by a single vote, were being, in her words, silenced and stifled for standing up for the lives of school children. Next news. The governor of New Mexico scaled back a tax relief package on Friday based on concerns it could undermine the future spending on public education, healthcare, and law enforcement while signing into law $500 individual rebates and the largest proposed spending plan in state history. Vetoed items within the tax relief package, including reduced tax rates on personal income, sales, and business transactions, as well as proposed credits toward the purchase of electric vehicles and related charging equipment. This was in the politics news and update of Millennium News 24/7. Log in to get the latest news, all our social networking site Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel is News M24. Viewers now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views. Our Millennium TV apps, Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google, www.millenniumtv24.com. Stay with Millennium News 24/7. Thank you.